We're going to spend some time with Congressman Adam Kinzinger, who's taking time out of a really, really busy day. Congressman, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm terrific. How's everything going this morning?
I'm good. I'm getting my coffee injection, so I'm going to survive.
I was going to say, you and I cannot talk unless each of us are holding a mug of coffee. That's been our custom over the years, and we can't vary from it.
That's right. We have to.
We got you in the district this morning?
Nope. I'm actually in D.C. right now.
All right.
Tomorrow's going to be this healthcare bill vote, so we'll see.
Yeah, I was just looking at a piece in the Wall Street Journal talking about how Speaker Ryan's leadership's being tested by this civil war on the health bill. Where do you come down on it? Fill us in. Give us a little background.
Well, first off, I support it, and this is the option. If we ran on repeal and replace Obamacare, this is the chance, and there are some folks that frankly want to make a name for themselves in the Senate that you see out there that are running around saying this isn't perfect. Of course, it's not perfect. You'll never, ever, ever have a perfect bill anywhere. That's legislating, and you take a lot of different interests, and a big thing like healthcare. This is a good bill. It's the right thing to do. We can get into the details of why. But this is literally the option. This is the moment. We are either going to repeal and replace Obamacare, or it is not getting done, and it will fail under the American people. So, yesterday, make a bit of news on your show. I actually was invited to the White House and spent some time with the president, about an hour, and in the Oval Office. And he's very much a charming guy, and was listening to people. I was there as a supporter, but there were people that weren't, and he was very interested in listening. Tell me what you have to say. What can we do to make this better?
So this isn't one of those scenarios. I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm intrigued by the whole dynamic there. So he's fielding both people in support and those who maybe don't necessarily feel that way or even feel strongly the other way, and he's cool with that. Yeah.
So I'll give you kind of the insider scoop. So we get put into the cabinet room, which is actually really cool in and of itself, and we're in the cabinet room, and literally the door opens, President Trump comes in, and he just looks at us, there's about 10 of us, and goes, why don't we go meet in the Oval Office? So, of course, we happily went and met in the Oval Office.
Sure.
It was literally just a cross in. And look, yeah, he made the point. I made the point to the president. I said, hey, I want you to know, this is my 7th year in this job, and you're the first president I've met not in a receiving line, and he's really making an effort. So he thought that was cool, and really just, ask people questions and asked, what their concerns were, and it was really intriguing to watch him work. He doesn't get into the weeds on the issues. He looks to his guys and says, is this something we can do? Is this not? And Vice President Pence was in the room, and so was Reince Priebus and a number of others. So it was a pretty surreal experience.
So you're in favor of it, and for those I've heard, and I know who you're talking about too. When you mentioned there are people who are trying to make a name because they're voicing opposition, but they're not really saying anything other than I want to be perceived as being opposing to this if it will do me some political good. 24 million people, I hear somebody kicking that number around, would lose their coverage overall, and I got to believe that number's inflated.
It is inflated, and look, I don't argue with the CBO, Congressional Budget Office. They do good work, but they have to. They're really good at numbers in, numbers out. What they're not good at is determining what people's behavior patterns will be. Now, where this 24 million number comes from, we are getting rid of the mandate to buy health insurance. So not everybody's going to buy it. By the way, they don't now. There's like 10 million people that chose last year to just take the penalty instead of buying health insurance. So, this idea that we can just force people to take worthless insurance. And that's the other point is, the Democrats and the left will say something, will talk about coverage. Well, if I literally write insurance on a piece of paper and hand it to you, I can call you covered, but it doesn't mean it's worth anything. And what you've seen from insurance is extremely high deductibles, extremely high premiums to where a family's paying $40,000. A family that makes $50,000 has to pay $40,000 a year before they even see their first benefit. So that's not coverage at all. So we're increasing the quality of coverage with this, the competition. We foresee a very strong and vibrant insurance market out there, and we get this done. We drive down, we think, and according to CBO, we're correct, we drive down insurance rates finally. But we are not forcing people, as we believe the government shouldn't, to buy insurance. The big hand of government's not going to do this.
Spending some time with Congressman Adam Kinzinger talking about, well, I don't know. Are we calling it Trump Care? What are we calling it?
I just call it the American Health Care Act, baby.
The American Health Care Act to replace the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, if you would like. Now, I see the number being knocked around that Republicans can't afford to lose more than 21 Republicans on this, or we're doomed.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think 218 is what we typically need because of absence, because of unfilled seats in the House, specifically like Tom Price and stuff. We need 216, and look, there are some moderates that have a problem with this, and there are some on the far right that have a problem with this. I think we're close to the number. I don't think we're there yet. That's what's going to be happening today. But I think President Trump spoke to our larger group yesterday morning and made it very clear, and I think he's 100% right. If we don't do this, we are in really big trouble for the next 4 years. And he believes we could easily lose our House majority because people put us in there to repeal and replace health care. And if there are some that won't do it, people are going to be upset. And secondly, look, we have to do this to turn around and do tax reform next. And tax reform is literally like pouring gasoline on the fire of the economy. It will be huge for the Rockford area, for us, and we got to get there. We got to get through this to get that done.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I know you're pressed for time. You're really busy, but I wanted to hit you on that tax reform thing. If the health care ends up being a minefield here, that could really have an impact on what you guys want to do as far as tax reform, right?
Well, yeah. Look, we are not only are we saving $300 billion through this package over the next 10 years. That's $30 billion a year. That's about as much as we need to increase the military a year, almost what we're doing. We do that. We also repeal $890 billion of taxes. So we are repealing $900 billion of taxes and still bringing an extra $300 billion in terms of less deficit. And then, so what we can do then is then write the new tax bill to that baseline. So basically, we're going to do revenue neutral tax reform so we can write a lower tax number for the American people, for the middle class, for businesses, for everybody. But we've got to get these taxes repealed in Obamacare first.
Boy, and you talk about tax reform combined with backing off on so many regulations like that. I see your analogy to pouring gas on a fire as far as the economy goes.
Yeah, and think about this. When the economy explodes, in a good way, not in a bad way, when the economy explodes, you will have the Federal Reserve putting interest rates up a little bit, which means seniors can now start saving money again, and those CDs at the bank that used to not be worth anything now start to be worth something again. But massive amounts of revenues come into the federal government because more people are getting to work. They're getting better jobs, better income. And, we talk about political instability, and there's just a ton of it. I actually think the way to fix political instability and everybody being angry at Thanksgiving dinner is an economy that begins working again, because it's been far too long, 8 years since we've had that. And I think President Trump's the one that's going to come in and get that going again. But we have got to get these big things done.
And the 8 years that you mentioned, for a lot of people, especially young members of the workforce, don't remember when it wasn't this way.
No, look, when I graduated from college in 2000, Illinois State, go Redbirds, I had more job offers than I knew what to do with. And I was not particularly smart or talented. It was because I was just young. Now a college graduate doesn't have that opportunity. I'd like it to get back to that again, where a kid comes out of college and he's got 8 people standing around begging for him to come work there.
Yeah, especially for those of us who front the kid their college education money, too.
Amen.
Congressman, as always, I know how busy you are. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I appreciate the background and all that's going on with health care and tax reform as well. Look forward to the next time we can get together.
You bet. I love doing the show, and anybody, reach out to our office and reach out on Instagram and everywhere else.
I appreciate it. Back to the coffee.
See ya. Yeah,
Thanks.
no kidding. Take care.
Congressman Adam Kinzinger.